Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. This is Rob. Today I'm going to do a video for you on those decks that I just recently got in the last 6 months. And by the way, you guys, we're already in the middle of the year. It is crazy. The time goes so fast. I can't even tell you. And I don't know why, but it just seems to fly the older I get. But you know, you guys, I ordered these decks this year. And for some reason, I haven't really been able to connect with them. For some reason, I didn't want to call this video like my biggest disappointments of this year so far. I didn't want it to be that. I ordered the decks and then I thought I was going to connect with them, but it's just no connection. And once again, you guys, this is just my personal experience. I've always said this and I'll say it again. Just because I don't connect with these decks doesn't mean that other people won't connect with them. It is just my personal opinion. And there's nothing wrong with these decks at the end of the day. The wonderful thing about tarot is that we all have different tastes. We all have different things that we like and things that we do. And images, some images attract me, some images attract other people. It's just the way it is. I maybe like some sort of cardstock and other people don't like it. And so we're all different. But these decks have been a disappointment, not because of what I got, but because we just weren't able to connect with each other. And the first one that I'm going to show you on the list is the Animal Guides Tarot by Radleigh Valentine and illustrations by Dan Craig. And you guys, you know, I'll tell you how this started, because I first ordered this one, and these are both Hay House publications. And so I ordered this one and I totally loved it, right? And so I saw this one. It's also by Hay House. Of course, it's not the same creators, but I thought, it's kind of cool. I'm not really into animal decks, honestly, but this one was such a big surprise that I thought, you know what, let me order this one, because I was sort of getting into it. But then I got it and we just haven't been able to connect at all today, that I have sadly not been able to connect to this year. And I don't know if I'll be able to connect with. And some of the other decks, maybe there was a little bit of a connection, but something was wrong with them. So I'm going to tell you guys exactly what it is that happened with these decks and how my journey with these decks in the last 6 months has been. Animal Guides, you guys. Hay House, as I mentioned, the box opens up like this. This is the inside of the box. It says, may you find wisdom, comfort, and joy in your journey with your animal guides. And by the way, you guys, I've done a full review of this deck. It's on the channel. This is what the side of the box looks like. This is what the back of the box reads. So pause your device and read that if you're interested. This is the book that comes with the deck, and it is a pretty nice book, really. It's, if you have any Hay House publication decks, you will probably know what this looks like and know what this feels like. It's a nice rose petal here. It has over 160 pages. It gives you the meaning of the cards. They're numbered. There's no pictures. There's a couple of spreads, an introduction, and that's basically it, you guys. And so this is the back of the book, and you can a little bit about the creator, Radleigh Valentine. You can take a read at that if you like. And these are the cards, you guys. When it comes to cardstock, you guys, this is very run-of-the-mill cardstock. There's nothing special about it, but it's not bad. Just because I say run-of-the-mill doesn't mean that it's bad. I don't mean it like that. It's a decent cardstock. This was not a very expensive deck, so you know. Cardstock is okay. This is the back of the card, and I find it absolutely gorgeous. It is not reversible, of course. And so when it comes to shuffling this deck, it's on the thick side, as you can see. It's not gilded, and it is not matte. It is matte, actually. When it comes to shuffling, it shuffles really, really well, you guys. I like the cardstock. And this is how a spread looks like with this deck. And so I'll tell you what it was and what happened with this deck. And one of the reasons why I ordered this deck was because of the messages that each card had included. And by the way, I did a complete review of this deck. By the way, I did a complete review of this deck, and it's on the channel. And as I said, the wording here was really promising for me, because there is sometimes when I do readings and I like to have some writing on the cards, and this one was offering that. For example, number 12, which is awakening, and it's the giraffe. Look at things in a different way and all will make sense. Don't worry if your progress is halted temporarily. Things will soon start moving again. So that's obviously the hanged man, right? But some of the pictures are just really not for me. And this is a perfect card of what I mean. This picture is really not something that I relate to. This one is okay, but also the frames are really big on these cards and I'm not into the frames. But the messages here are really nice. Also, the animals have tiaras and I'm a little bit, I don't know how I feel about that. This is the king of water, so he should have a crown. This is the 9 of earth, and there's a lot of course it's an animal deck, right? But there's a lot of animal pets in here too, and I'm not really into animal pets. This is the Empress. It's funny that they would put an Angora rabbit, but the Empress is always been related to the rabbit, so, but I've always found it funny. Reindeer or a caribou. Anyway, you guys, I know I'm not really relating to the pictures of this deck. Other things on this deck are okay. Am I happy that this deck is in my collection? Honestly, you guys, if it wasn't, it would also be okay. I'm not super impressed with it. It's really not my style. Paper stock is okay, presentation is okay, the wording is okay, but it's a little too tender for me. So, yeah, it's a little, yeah, I'm not relating to the pictures. I'm not relating to some of the messages. It's just a little bit out of my realm, it seems like. And with that being said, you guys, let's jump to the next deck. The next deck is the Visconti Sforza. You guys, I just got this deck literally like a couple of days ago. And I'm having a hard time with this because this is the first time that I order a historical deck that is not from Lo Scarabeo or Il Melenghello. And this is the first time I order a historical deck from US Game Systems. And I had this deck on my radar for a long time, and I chose not to get it for a long time. I've seen, of course, videos of this deck online, and, you know, I don't use it for divination, but I like the whole historical side of it. And so I got it for apprenticeship. I got it to reflect on. I got it to just look at the beautiful pictures and how tarot used to look like hundreds of years ago. And so I'm always really interested in that, but I'm used to the Il Melenghello and I'm used to the Lo Scarabeo, and I have to say that there is a big difference between those decks and this deck. So let me show you what this deck looks like. This box opens up like this, and you know, the box is really nice. I think one of my favorite things about this cards is the box. The presentation is really beautiful. I love the colors. This is what the side of the box reads like, and it gives you just a brief history of this deck, so you can read that if you like. Pause your device there, and then it opens up like this. I'm afraid that this is not going to last long, but the inside of the box is really nice. It comes with a booklet that is not so informative, but it's also not that bad. It has some interesting things, and of course the meanings of the card. And these are the cards, you guys, which are sort of larger size. Actually, they're a lot larger than your regular card, as you can see, and they barely fit on the camera. But anyway, that gives you an idea of how big they are. This is the back of the card, and it's got that red sort of theme, right? I don't know if they're reversible or not, but, you know, to the naked eye, I guess they would be. They're not identical, so. And this is a historical deck, so nothing wrong with it. It's cardstock is okay. It's that US Game Systems cardstock that you're probably familiar with. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's very much the same as in many of their other decks that they use. And this is a deck that is very nice. The drawings are very beautiful. The printing is not to my liking with this deck. The colors are faded, and I wish that they would have done something else with it. The colors are not so vibrant. I think that could have been a lot better, but Lo Scarabeo I'm used to. And that's the main reason, you guys, why this deck has been a little bit of a disappointment. I was not expecting this. Maybe because I'm spoiled with the Lo Scarabeo, and the Lo Scarabeo is absolutely gorgeous. And this one is different than that, and it's not gilded. And that's fine. It doesn't need to be gilded. But for some reason, this deck just fell flat on its face for me. And I think maybe it's because I'm trying to compare it to the other decks, historical decks that I have, and it really doesn't do it. But when it comes to the drawings are really, really cool. Paper stock is not bad. Presentation is good. And yeah, look at those drawings. They're gorgeous, actually. It's just a little bit of the printing and the quality of the printing. The coloring is a little bit faded. It's not so vibrant, and those are the things that I wish would have been different. But overall, a pretty good deck. Am I glad that this deck is in my collection? Yes, I'm glad that this deck is in my collection. It didn't turn out to be what I was hoping for it to be. It fell short a bit, but at the end of the day, I'm happy that this deck is in my collection, and I'm going to cherish it. I don't really use these decks for divination. I use these decks more for contemplation. I love to see how history has evolved, and I compare this deck to some of my newer decks or modern decks, and it is always a real fun thing for me to do. So you guys, with that being said, let me show you what the next deck on this list is. The next deck on the list is the Mood of the Moon Oracle, and it has 93 cards and a guidebook. You guys, I love Libra Moon, so I one day decided that I was going to order many of their products, and I did. I ordered, she delivered them, and by the way, customer service, because I ordered directly with them, was absolutely wonderful. So thank you for them to ship everything so fast my way. And so I bought the articles from them, and I thought, okay, because I have their other decks. I have the Pulse Moon, and I have the Oracle of the Beasts, and I have the Serpent and the Peacock, of course, and I have the art edition of the Serpent and the Peacock. So it's really beautiful. So I have a full video of those decks on the channel if you're interested in watching that. But I thought, you know what, let me order this one too, because I just love them so much, and this one is smaller, and I thought that I could travel with this one. And anyway, this one comes in a hard box like this, and it is beautiful, this box. This is a little bit of what this deck is all about. And I'll tell you what the problem with this deck is for me at the moment. So it opens with the magnets. This is what the inside of the box looks like. These are the cards. This is the book, and the book is pretty informative. As you can see, it's pretty big. I honestly, you guys, have not been able to get into this deck at all. For some reason, I can't seem to connect with this deck at the moment. I've tried a couple of times, but I don't know if it's a time thing but we are not connecting. This is what the inside of the box looks like. Beautiful. You know, they have wonderful presentations, Libra Moon, and their products are usually quality. Most all of the times. These are the cards, you guys, and so they're square, right? So this is a regular card, and this is what this card looks like. It's a good size. There's many cards in here. There's 93 cards, and you can still hold them well. And for shuffling, it's also not a problem. They shuffle pretty well. So the size is interesting. I like it. The card stock on this deck is kind of weird, at least to me, because it feels very plasticky. It's that linen paper, but I think it's got a major coat of plastic on the top. And so that, yeah, for durability, that's great. And if maybe if some liquid falls on them or something, then they will hold longer. But, and by the way, I have never, that has never happened to me before. So I don't know if that would really withstand water, but it just feels a little bit plasticky. And on top of that, there's a whole system here. And so you need to learn this whole system. And I have not had the chance to do all of that yet. I have tried to connect with the deck by looking at it and connect with the images. And it has to do with the moons and in what stage the moon is. And then you would draw a card, and then you get a message for that particular time of the year. And so, like I said, I haven't really gotten into it. This is what the gilding looks like, and I absolutely do not like that gilding. And so it's almost like I see that gilding, and I really don't want to work with the deck. It really turns me off. So the gilding by itself is really not allowing me to play with this deck. And the plasticky feeling on the deck also seems to bother me. So they're rather on the thin side, so the paper or the cardstock quality is not to my liking. And so there's several flaws with this deck. If you try to do a spread with this deck, then it kind of works okay. And then you look at these pictures and they're sweet and I like them. I like very much the style because I have some of the other decks, and the other decks I absolutely adore, and they all follow sort of like the same style. But for some reason, see, look at the picture quality. It looks a little bit not so quality, right? And it gives it that plasticky feeling as well. So this deck and I have not been able to connect so well, because actually we haven't been able to connect at all. I can't seem to get into it. The deck and I haven't been able to connect. And also there's something here with all these colors and this framing here that also stresses me out. And there's a lot written on the card on every side, and I don't know, there's something about it that it's keeping me away from it. It doesn't call me. It's sort of like there on the shelf and I'm not using it. So I don't know what the future holds for the two of us, what it's going to be for this deck and I, because it hasn't really worked. I'm giving it some time because I really like the publishers and I like the creators of the deck because of the other beautiful decks that they have made. That's why I like them. And I invested more money with them. But I'm going to have to give this deck a little bit of a break, and then maybe we can come back to each other and then we would be able to connect. Let me show you the next deck. You guys, the next deck on the list is also from the same publishers. It's just the Serpent and the Peacock Tarot. And if you've been to the channel before and you've known, maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but I did a full review of the art version of this deck, which I have. And so, I love the art version so much. The cards are big and it's just a beautiful presentation, and I was so pleased with the whole thing. I don't have it here right now, but I don't have it with me right now, so I can't show it to you, but it is in the channel. And you guys, it's such a gorgeous deck, and I thought this one was a lot inexpensive, and I thought, let me get this one for the coffee table, right? Because I don't want to have my expensive copy on the coffee table. I want to sort of just keep that one for personal use and then put this one out. And so I thought that this would be a great idea for that. Not only that, but with this particular deck as compared to the art and luxury version of it, because that's the way I see it, it's a luxury version, I went ahead and I bought this one, and I thought I would, as I said, put it on the coffee table. So this is the book that it comes with. It's a pretty nice book. It gives you a picture of the card, and then it gives you the description of the card. And one of the reasons, or as I just mentioned, that I wanted to get this deck is because it has the description and the meaning of the card on the bottom of it. And I thought that that would be great for my guests, because a lot of my guests will, of course, they can't read the cards. And so if I just give them a deck that is such a more like a learning deck, I think that that's always very nice for them. And so I got this one. And so you guys, there's the same things that I just mentioned about the other one is the same things that I don't really like about this one. Although I love the images on this deck and everything, because I do, and that's the reason why I got it. This paper stock quality is that linen, but it's a covered thick layer of plastic. I think it's plastic. It feels like plastic, and it doesn't feel really good on my hands. The paper is also thin, so in terms of the quality of the paper, I don't really think it's there. Now, this gilding, you guys, and I just mentioned it with the other deck, this gilding really doesn't go with me. I cannot get over it. And so I look at this gilding and I'm thinking, oh, and although the gilding really rejects me, I still have kept this deck out on the coffee table for a good amount of time to see if I would go back to it. And I did go back to it. And you know why I went back to it time to time is because I love the pictures of it. And I love the meanings of the cards here. And some of my guests have already played with it and they love it. And so I thought this is a great deck for that. But for my own personal use, you guys, it just didn't really work out. So I thought that it would be a multi-use deck meaning I could let my guest use it, I could use it myself, and so like that. And it has worked out, but I don't know. There's just this gilding that doesn't go. The paper quality is really not to my satisfaction. So anyway, I still will use it. It's okay that I have it in my collection. I must not have it in the collection, honestly. If this deck was not in the collection, it would also be okay. Like I said, I will use it for the coffee table and we'll have fun with it. You guys, let's go to the last deck on the list. My biggest disappointment for this year so far from the decks that I bought. This is the last deck on the list, you guys, and I'll tell you the story about this deck. I've had my eye on this deck for a long time, right? So the first thing I did is a long time ago, I went ahead and I bought this one, which is also the Visconti di Madrone. This is the Cary-Yale Visconti, right? And so this one is from Lo Scarabeo. This one is from US Game Systems. I finally did it, you guys. I finally got this deck, and I got it this year, so it's no more than 6 months old. I was super excited to get it, and I thought it's not a cheap deck. It's not super expensive either, but I thought, you know what? I love history decks. Let me get this deck. I probably won't be disappointed. And I also thought, you know what? It's a large size card, and as some of you know, I love large size cards. So I went ahead and I got it. Well, this is the box that it comes in. And the box is really nice, by the way. Really, it's a really nice box. It's that rose petal feeling. It's beautiful. The colors are gorgeous, and the box is really nice. This is the side of the box and what it reads. So you can pause your device and read that if you're interested. And then it opens up like this. It has that same binding as the other box has, and we'll see if that lasts or not, but it looks a little bit flimsy. This is the book that comes with it, and it's just like the other book. It just goes into the major, minor arcana. It gives you a little bit of the symbolism and what it means here. Maybe there's a couple of spreads and a brief introduction to this deck, of course, being that is a historical deck. And these are the cards, you guys. They're huge. So if you compare them to a normal size card, look what you get here. I mean, it is huge, you guys. So I love that. Paper stock is okay. It's run-of-the-mill US Systems paper stock. I didn't quite think that they were going to make this deck out of this paper stock. I thought that they would use a different card stock, but they didn't. They used the same, pretty much, what they use for most of their decks. And I think it's short. I think it falls short of what it should be. And so that is my own personal opinion. And it's a little bit thin, and being that this is a very large card, I feel like it's a little bit flimsy. This is the back of the card. And so it is sort of a matte. It's really not shiny. It looks like it's shiny, but it's not. And this is what some of these cards look like. Of course, you're going to have to be super creative to shuffle this deck because it's very big. Do divination readings with this deck, you guys. It's part of my historical deck collection, and I collect these things, and I love to see what they've done and what they look like and how the decks have progressed throughout the years. And so, because I have super new decks, I have history decks like this one, for example, and I love to see what the progression of tarot has been. I mean, I think this deck was made in the 1400s. So it's interesting when we have an opportunity to be able to look at these decks and what it was all about. But one of the reasons why the drawings are beautiful in this deck, the printing is really not to my satisfaction. And this is one of the reasons why it is number one on this list. Am I glad that this deck is in my collection? Yes, I am. Do I intend to keep this deck? Yes, I intend to keep it. I don't intend to give this deck away at all. I think that this is definitely a keeper. But the problem, I think, with me is that, as I mentioned before, I had gotten this one first, which is the museum quality from Lo Scarabeo. And you guys, when you compare one deck to the other one, and by the way, this is the smaller size of this deck, but this deck actually comes in a big size card, just like this one. And it is just as gorgeous as the small one. Let me show you what I'm talking about. paper stock. The paper stock on this deck is absolutely delicious, gorgeous, fabulous. It is lush, it is stable, it is robust, it is perfect. It just feels wonderful on the fingers. And look at these images. This is gold foiling in the back, you guys. And the pictures are so clear and the colors are so vibrant. And this is what I was used to instead of this. This looks like it's a print. So, and this looks like it's actually the piece of artwork. There is no comparison, you guys. This is what happened. And then I thought, well, I wonder if it was really worth it that I got the two of them, because the two of them have the same pictures. Some things are different in both of them, of course, but at the end of the day, you guys, it's all almost the same, except this one is just so clear. You can see the gold, you can see the silver. Look at that. You don't see that here. And this looks like it's three-dimensional, you guys. It's absolutely well done. It is such a delightful deck that this is what motivated me to buy this one. But I didn't get anything that resembles this deck, you guys. And so I thought, okay, I got it. I wish I didn't get it. Do I have to have this deck on my collection? No, I don't have to have this one in my collection. Do I have to have this one? Absolutely. But am I going to give it away? No, I'm going to keep it. These are historical decks and I'm going to keep both of them. Though this one, it's definitely sharper, you guys. Definitely more of a museum piece. It is absolutely gorgeous. And this one is more of a, well, no, it doesn't really have a body. The paper is a little bit thin. And so anyway, I already discussed all those things. And so this is what happened with these decks. And that has been my experience for the Cary-Yale Visconti, you guys. I think I'm just spoiled and I got too used to the other one. And then I got this one and that's why I was totally disappointed. But if I may add, it's still a beautiful deck. It's still good for what it is. I guess I was hoping to get something else. And you know, sometimes they say you shouldn't compare, but it's hard not to compare when the images are the same. So you guys, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know that you're liking the videos so we can continue doing them. And as I always say, you guys, until the next time.